This video, hi my friends, is definitely a chatty video. It's Nanny in her storytelling mode of some of the excitement that we had this week. So stay tuned if you're in the mood for a couple of funny stories. And Moosie and I were sitting right here chatting together about one of the funny stories. I did just wake up Moosie to come out and help me with my microphones, which were not working when I was trying to do something here.
You may talk of gin and beer when you're quartered safe out here and you're sent to pet holder shot, but when it comes to slaughter,
Well, it looks like Moosie has fixed the microphone. He's now out, and I'm going to have to cut it in a minute and go get him some nice coffee. But he's fixed it, and I hope that you're hearing it fine. Well, as I was saying, from my week ago thrift, you absolutely adored my little froggy planter, which is what I'm going to use it for my succulents. But yesterday, when I was out with my granddaughters, looky what I found. Now, this is, I think they're swans or geese. Moosie thinks they're ducks. But is this not wonderful? And I'm also going to use it for a planter with probably succulents or something beautiful in here. You know, the things you can find thrifting. I paid a little more for this one. I think they had this one marked at $10, but with 30% off, wonderful, wasn't it? I did find one other treasure. Wouldn't this be darling for my nice, tiny, keeping my little succulent plants tiny for our Christmas project? Love it. I love the way it undulates. It's not just straight across. And I'm so glad I took these girls thrifting. Well, you did a good job, Moosie, of getting these little microphones to work for me. Thank you. And I loved your recitation of Gunga Din. Was that what it was?
Yep.
Very good. We'll let the ladies hear a little bit of that too. But I'm looking at all the colors of the garden, and it really is beautiful, especially those daylilies, the orange daylilies. I think we're going to have to thin those out a bit, huh? Yeah. It's quite surprising that even with this heat and a little bit of automatic watering, the garden is looking really beautiful and so colorful, all the way to brand new roses still growing at the end. One of the things I forgot to show you because I hung it up right away is the most beautiful bird feeder. It's quite heavy, it's quite large, and I'm looking at it hanging up there right now. And it has a beautiful wicker roof, a brown wicker roof. Isn't it gorgeous? You have to get more bird seed. I'm sure our little birdies are clamoring for some more. Well, another exciting moment in the life of Nanny and Moose that happened yesterday.
right hell.
Okay. He probably doesn't know what I'm referring to you.
I fell asleep most of the afternoon.
Well, this happened before that.
Oh.
I think as I told you last week, we were at the VA hearing clinic down by Newport Beach. It's actually Santa Ana, but it's way down. And we have to take the 5 all the way down. It's quite a ride, especially in rush hour traffic. But we've done it, and we have to keep doing it because Moosie's hearing, they're taking great care of him. And what happened was his hearing aids stopped working after the last trip, so we had to go back down. We did pick up a lot of extra technology, which we're going to have Mikey and Dane come up from San Diego and install for us because we know nothing about it, but wonderful. However, they took his hearing aids away because they have to repair them. But we did have a wonderful doctor who was the chief of audiology visiting from Long Beach. And she says she thinks he does need perhaps a new pair of hearing aids and might put in an order for them. after the next time. But we have to go back in 3 weeks again. And our appointment is at 7 o'clock in the morning. That means we have to get up at 5:30, but we might beat the traffic at that point. I don't know. However, the exciting part of the day, maybe not to other people, but to us, was on our way home. Moosie had this fall detection device around his neck in the car.
This is the most sensitive thing. And if you're prone to being to falling down, you're happy that it's sensitive. If you're a clumsy guy like me, who can drop it on the dresser and it goes off, I don't know. You got to be very careful of it. It's like a baby.
The people in the main office that get a call the minute something happens with this thing have been very patient with us. Now, the day of our anniversary, he did fall, so it's working and it's wonderful. And the paramedics came right away and got him up. Thank God he didn't hurt himself, but we do need big, big help to get him up when he falls. That's great. But we've had, well, probably 3 or 4 false alarms, and only to the point where he'll drop something or lean against something, and the sirens in the cottage go off, and all we have, the man's voice comes on. He says, can we help you? What's happened? Do you need help? And all I do is, I'm there in the cottage, so I say, no, we thank you, so sorry this has happened. He said, don't worry, everybody, it happens all the time with everyone, but it's good to know it's working. So I always apologize, but I'm there to settle their minds. Now, there are telephone calls that are made if, for instance, no one answers that siren right away. First, it's me, and I will get a call on my cell phone. Then I believe it's Colleen, who is very close. She will get a call on her phone. And then Matthew, who will get a call on his phone. So those are the people that we've listed.
The first to get the call is 911.
That's right. The first to
And
get
then you, and then Colleen, then Matthew.
yeah. And that's only if I don't say it's okay, everything's fine. Well, coming home in the car on the 5 freeway in traffic, Moosie takes this thing off his head and he puts it on the console in between both of us. Now, we both have our phones there. I have some other things, maybe the disinfectant for our hands, whatever. It's not uncluttered. And my phone at this point now is in the back seat in my purse. So as we're driving along, very faintly I hear my phone ring. But I couldn't answer it because it's in the back. I wouldn't answer it anyway because we're driving. And then I hear some voices, but I couldn't do anything about it. So I thought it was a robocall or maybe one of the kids or whatever. We were probably 5 minutes, 7 minutes from the house. We did stop and get our wonderful.
No, no, no. We stopped before.
We did stop before the phone call, right? And we did get our wonderful chicken sandwich from Carl's Jr. and a big lemonade. And I got my jalapeno peppers. We were looking forward to this nice lunch. It was getting hot. It was close to noontime. So we arrive home. I bring all this in. Moosie goes in, sits down in his red chair, waiting for me to bring the lunch in. I'm in the kitchen dividing up what we're getting. Our cottage door opens up. I hear voices, and there are 5 paramedics from the fire department in our house. And they've all got their paramedic bags. Where is he? What's happened? Of course, they know Moose by now. Anyway, thank God we are probably 3 minutes from the fire station, and they're wonderful guys. By the way, we do have to send some more goodies up to them because they're so great. I ran out of the kitchen. Were you aware that they were there, or had you already fallen asleep?
No, no, I saw them there, and I said, well, wonder what those guys are. And then,
Oh, and then Colleen comes running into the house, following them. Oh, where's Dad? Where is he? So we had unexpected company, which is always so nice when we get that, but not for these guys, although they were wonderful. We told them we're so sorry. We told them what happened. We still don't understand this, the way this works, do we?
yeah, I do.
You do?
But you know what was just interesting part about that story was normally if you were to call them, and we've called them before, they knock on the door and you say, "Who is it?" and they let them in. Not this time. They saw an emergency. No, nobody talking to anybody. Nobody called them. You know, they came through that door
Right.
expecting to find you on the floor or
Right.
me.
Or Moosie. Ah,
Anyway, that was interesting that they come barging into the house.
they
I
did.
like that too.
I do too. I do too. And as you know, we do have a gate down there, but they do have the key. And that's the other thing I've often wondered. What if I was disabled and I couldn't get to the button to open up the gate? They have a key, or maybe they just crashed through. I don't know. Wonderful. But anyway, after many apologies, and they assured me, it was okay. But this time it was different. They actually came, and I feel so awful about that. But they said these things happen. Anyway, as always, two or three of them know our grandson, Billy, who is a local paramedic firefighter. One of them is one of his best buddies. He said, I was on the phone with your grandson last night. He was helping me with this or that. And he was one of the captains. And of course, we have other grandsons that are dispatchers, and we have a big firefighter family, and we love those guys. They are lifesavers, believe me, and so understanding. So that was our excitement. I finished getting our lunch ready. We had our lunch, and then what did we do?
Then after we had our big lunch, we slept for about 4 hours.
We
Why? I
did.
don't know.
We did.
That
I'm
never happens.
telling you, this whether it's this weather or what, our lives are filled with either excitement or total boredom and sleep or hopeful sleeping, right? Okay. So that's our exciting story for the day. It's storytelling time in this video, I think, isn't it?
It is.
Gunga Din recitals.
Yes. And the night on the marge of Lake Lavage, I cremated Sam McGee.
Ooh. Sometime you might hear the whole thing. It was one of the things that impressed me about Moosie when I first met him. Of course, he had to recite the whole thing to me. I didn't even get dressed yet. I still have my jammies and my little peignoir on,
That's a big word for a little girl.
isn't it, though? But it's French, and it goes along with the French toile. Okay, since it's a storytelling video, I just have to tell you about my little day with my granddaughters. Well, Ryan just came back from running, and I ran up and I said, please let me take a picture of you. Oh, I look terrible. Well, she doesn't, as you know, a beautiful 20-year-old. But I wanted her to just tell a kind of an intro to the story that I'm going to tell you now. It's kind of a storytelling day, that's all, not an exciting day. But I wanted you to know about the fun that I had just in a little less than 2 hours with two of my darling granddaughters. I have so many, and I would love to see them all the time. But we went thrifting, as I told you, and she found something that she has been looking for 5 years. Here's my darling granddaughter. How excited were you when we found those Doc Martens?
Oh, it was so great. I've had those shoes in my cart. I was gonna buy them new for $250 last week. I almost bought them.
I know.
And then to find them for like 75% off. It's meant to be, yeah. Sorry, I just got done with a run.
I know, you
ran
look
a couple miles.
You look gorgeous. Let
Thank
me tell you,
you.
you're looking
Thank
so
you.
much like your mom now. So Moosie has just gone in, and it's just an hour later. I did have a chance to check off all the other little reels that we did, and I'm so glad I get Moosie on every once in a while. He's really an interesting guy, isn't he? So we arrived at Savers early, got our baskets, and stopped to see Richard, my buddy, and he's always at the jewelry counter. Well, the girls were looking at jewelry. Normally, Ryan says she doesn't bother looking, but we did, and she found a few things. She's more into the boho looks these days. She's a fantastic dresser, but she loves vintage clothing, and that's her thing right now. Shannon, on the other hand, prefers the dainty jewelry, small chains. She likes the gold, I think, a little bit better than the silver. I think Ryan likes silver. And she found some beautiful little things with, I think they might have been some real rubies too, for like $2 or $3. But while we were there, now Richard has this special case where he deals with the things that are a little more valuable, even besides jewelry. They have a few other things there, maybe some purses or watches or something. But as we were about ready to leave the jewelry counter, a couple showed up, a young couple, a young pregnant gal and her hubby. And she had a pair of Doc Martens in her hand. Now, I don't know whether you know what Doc Martens are. Doc Martens are these big, chunky black boots that have been in style ever since my daughters were young teenagers. And well, Debbie is 60 now, so that kind of tells you how long Doc Martens are around, have been around. They're leather boots, lace-up boots, and in the days when our daughters were teenagers, you wore, if they're, by the way, very expensive, you wore Doc Martens as a mountain look then. You would wear, you know, the buffalo check flannel sweaters and jeans, and you would wear your Doc Martens. But now the Doc Martens are so in style, and you'll see them on young gals, these big chunky black lace-up boots. Some are short to the ankles, some are up to the calves, and they wear them with short dresses or shorts, or they wear them all sorts of ways. And this is what you might call the boho look, bohemian, whatever. And anyway, to make a, I'm always trying to make a long story short, but while this girl was, she brought these Doc Marten brand new boots up to Richard, and she said, may I please try these on? And she bent down, started to put one of these boots on. They were beautiful. And Ryan happened to catch Ryan's eye. She turned around, she said, oh, Nanny, I have been looking for a pair like that for 5 years. I almost bought them in a store paying full price, but I couldn't. I kept taking them out of my cart. Colleen verified this. She said, yes, Ryan has been looking for these for that long. Well, anyway, we had to stay in the corner, and Ryan, trying to be inconspicuous, would be biting her nails. Not really, but she was nervous that this girl was going to buy these boots. And she kept talking about them. Do you love them, honey? She said to her hubby, yeah, they look great. But they were $89. Now, that's expensive for a thrift shop, but these things are a couple $100 normally. Very great label, Doc Martens. Well, we stood there hoping and praying that this girl would not buy these boots. And Ryan could hardly contain herself. We kept peeking around, and she was trying to eye them without being too conspicuous. The girl finally put the boots up on the counter, and it looked like she was having Richard take them and send them up to the front. They said goodbye. They were talking, said goodbye, walked away, and Richard went to take the boots. Ryan ran up to the counter, and she said, did she buy those boots? And Richard said, no, I was going to put them away. Ryan said, wait, let me try them on. And she looked, she said, Nanny, I could tell they were my size even when they were on her feet. So she tried one on. She said, gasped. I said, ooh, Ryan, they're $89. But then again, they were getting my 30% discount. Plus, I had told both girls that I would give them each I gave them each $25 for whatever they wanted. So she took that off. So in reality, these boots cost her what's that? 25 plus 30% off, blah, blah, blah. Well, I guess it's around $40 for these boots. Well worth it. She put those in her cart, and although she did go around, pick up other things too, and so did Shannon. We had a wonderful day. And if you ever manage to get the time with any grandchildren, guys or gals, no matter what age, it does your heart good. It it did mine. And just another fun story. We had a great day. By the way, we did stop for iced coffee on the way. Only I missed my Del Taco by 2 blocks. So we went to Mickey D's, and guess what? Their iced coffee was just as good, vanilla flavored. And my little friend Shamu is sitting right here with me right now. Hello, Shamu. And I'm sure that Ghost is somewhere nearby. They've eaten, they're happy, and they just love sitting around and listening to us talk. Mother, what doing? She's cleaning herself up after her breakfast this morning. Let me tell you what I'm eating. I'm finally getting around to doing something for me here this morning. I was doing a lot of prep work for Moosie. He's growing seeds and things in the garden too. But mostly every morning, I have a breakfast of cottage cheese and blueberries. And it's healthy, it seems to satisfy me. And one day I was telling Colleen, oh, by the way, I've lost 3 of the 5 pounds that I gained up at Billy and Bonnie's house in Idaho. I told you with Bonnie's fantastic cooking that I did gain 5 pounds, and my weight has not changed in 2.5 years when I lost 15 pounds right before COVID. And with regular eating, it has not gone up, but at Bonnie's, it did. So I'm 3 pounds down for that. And you know, in this heat, I find that I'm not that hungry. And Moosie and I'm going to tell you, maybe in the next video, some of the meals that we've been having, which you might not even call meals, where the heat does not do anything for our appetite. Probably around 1 o'clock today, I am going to make my smoothie. And people have asked for that recipe. But basically, my friends, you've seen me do it. I just throw handfuls of blueberries or strawberries, maybe half a banana. Now, the banana makes it a little creamier, by the way. And then I put a big handful of spinach in, a little chopped ice, and sometimes a small yogurt, one of those Activia small yogurts. And the yogurts or the banana will make it creamier, sometimes a teeny bit of water, just to kind of get the whole thing moving in the blender. Then I put it on a blender for maybe a minute to get it nice and frothy. It's a great, great taste. It's healthy, and I'll tell you what else it does. It keeps me regular. You know, my father, I have to tell you this. Maybe I shared too much, but what the heck. My father, my dear daddy, I think I told you most of my life, I was one of those gals that was probably constipated a lot. And being wonderful parents, you know, as I grew older too, into my teens, my mom and dad were checking, you know, now did you have your constitution or whatever they would call it, you know, I'm okay, or if I didn't, and my mother would maybe tell me what I had to do for a couple of days if it didn't, you know, if it didn't happen that morning. But even after I was married, and Moosie and I have laughed about this one. Moosie and I were married when we were both 22 and a half. I was 22 and a half. Moosie was already 23. And we were married and had our honeymoon in Cape Cod for a little less than a week, and then drove off to Fort Knox, Kentucky. And that was the end of my time living with my mom and dad and my family. And my father would write these wonderful letters, and so would my mom. My mom would type hers. They were both so wonderful about keeping in touch. And we talked on the telephone. I miss them both tremendously, but Moosie and I were starting this wonderful life. And by the way, there's no reason to give up your parents once you get married. You can still stay way in touch, which was definitely something we did all our lives, no matter where we lived. And in every sweet letter that my dad every letter, oh dear, every sweet letter that my father wrote to me, or us, but mostly me, he had a favorite little nickname for me. He called me his Hunchy Bunchy. And he would always start that off, call me Hunchy Bunchy in letters and on the phone. I was the only daughter and, of course, the apple of their eye. And as he would close, all my love, your daddy, he would always put a P.S. wanting to know how my barrels were. And Moosie used to think that was so funny, that here I was, a married woman, and my father was still just wanting to make sure that my barrels were working. And that's what he called it, my barrels. Probably shouldn't have shared that, but just a nostalgic memory. Now, how the heck did I get to constipation from what we were just talking about? I have no idea. Oh yeah, it was having your smoothie a couple of times a week, maybe 3 or 4, and putting that spinach in there. That's what reminded me of my barrels, because the spinach, for some reason or other, or any fiber greens, I know they say fiber doesn't do it, but with me, definitely having some dark green veggies does help. So maybe that's a clue for some of you, but you know, you've got to learn to deal with and talk about some of these little problems that we have aging. And you know what? Constipation is one of them, and so is incontinence, as I'm finding the older I get. So don't be afraid to discuss these things, and I'm there with you, gals. Don't worry. Okay, so I'm going to finish up my cottage cheese with berries, which I absolutely love. It is very satisfying, believe me. Well, every video is a little different with me. This was a Gabby one with a few stories that I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll keep practicing some of these updos. This one is a morning. I'm still in my peignoir and my sleeping jammies, and I have my sleeping hair going, a little lipstick, and that's it. But I'm glad you enjoyed the hair video, and you know, I will keep trying to do a better job of doing them on the videos, and maybe I'll do some more soon again. So I hope you're still having a nice, cool summer. The next video too, I keep saying I'm going to do everything in the next video, but soon I will do some planting in my new pots of my tiny little succulents. And by the way, I thought I brought some over here. Yesterday in the morning, as we were walking around the parking lots, I found a couple more yuccas that had some little break-offs here and there laying around, and I did pick them up, and I'm going to pot those. I already have them laying in some dirt over in the rock garden, but some that I don't have, they're very snaky, not snaky, spidery looking, and it's always good to keep picking up, when you see them, a few varieties that you don't have. Thanks so much for watching, my friends. I love you all, so does Moosie. I'll see you soon again, and God bless us all. Stay cool, everybody.